this lesson is on the factor theorem and the remainder theorem. So first off, we're going to look at the factor theorem, which is really a special case of the remainder theorem. So to determine if a binomial is a factor of a function, a graph or polynomial long division can be used. A graph is probably faster and it lets you check all of your answers at once. So in the last lesson, we already saw that we can use polynomial long division, and if there's no remainder, then that means that that thing we're dividing by is a factor of the function. So here's a little faster way to do this. So we have a problem. Here's f of x. And we want to know which of the following is a factor of f of x. So we could try to factor it, but we also know that not everything is factorable and with our normal methods, such as grouping, and that would be true here. I could not factor this by grouping. So what I did was, for the first one, I showed everything here. I graphed f of x on Desmos, and it's right here. And then the way that I check these factors, if I want to see if x minus 4 is a factor, if we think about setting that equal to 0, if we got the factors and we were finding the roots, then when I solve this, I would get x equals 4. What that means is the point 4, 0 would be a point on that function. With the same idea on this one, if this was a factor, x plus 5 would equal 0 when I solved the equation for the roots, and I would get x equals negative 5. Here, I would get x equals 5, and here I would get x equals negative 1. So a quick way to check to see which one is actually the factor is to take these 4 values and look them up in the table. So looking here, I typed this in Desmos, and here's my table. And it looks like negative 5 is the one that's the root. So that means x plus 5 is the factor, right? Because it's basically the opposite side. So that's just a little extension, as I said, of what we've already done. I'm going to scroll down the page and we'll kind of generalize things. What I also did here was I showed for this problem, so here's my f of x, x cubed plus 8x squared plus an 11x minus 20. Here is that f of x divided by the x plus 5, and I see, yes, it does work. When I did this long division, I got 0 as a remainder, so that was the correct answer. So the factor theorem in kind of complicated math terms says, in general, if a polynomial p of x, and they just use p of x to go with the fact that polynomial starts with p, is divisible by x minus a, so that would be like, I don't know, let's say x minus 2, then p of a would equal 0. So that means p of 2 would equal 0, because if this is negative, we check it at the opposite sign for that number. So basically what that means, if we want to put it in your own words, you might want to pause the video and try to put it in your words. That's a really good way to remember it, but I will just write it now. So to check a factor, look at the opposite value in the table to see if the y is 0. So we'll look at another one of these and we'll do the graph together just to make sure everybody understands. So going to the next page. So here, our new polynomial is x cubed minus 14x squared plus 43x minus 30. And I had Desmos somewhere over here, so let me just get that moved over so we can look at it. So we're going to type in that graph. Since we're mostly going to be using the table, we don't really need to worry about seeing a nice graph or looking at anything. We could directly use the graph, but the table's easier. So here's my f of x, and I'm checking which one of these is going to be a factor. So I can click on the gear, and if you were on a graphing calculator, you could just scroll through the normal table. So I want to check x plus 10. So in here, I'm going to type negative 10. Okay, that doesn't look so great, right? That's not what I want. For x minus 10, I'm going to check positive 10. That looks good, right? That's what we're looking for, that 0. For plus 3, I'm going to check negative 3. Nope. And my last one, which I can't see, x plus 1. So I'm going to check negative 1. So it is that 10 10 is the root, so x minus 10 is the factor. So we would choose letter F.